Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sesh, where we're going to have a very quick look at a slightly wobbly cherry porter. But before we get too far ahead, I am your host Tim. To my left we have
Sam.
and to my right,
Dave.
excellent. Let's get straight in. This is from Renaissance, quite possibly the grandfather of New Zealand craft brewing. One of, if not the. I'm sure you can post an angry comment if you disagree, but that's what YouTube's for ultimately.
They are my favourite of New Zealand craft breweries.
And they are prolific. This is one of many seasonals. So anyway, let's not waste time, let's get this out of here.
What we have here is a porter, so vintage style porter, but in the Baltic or Russian style, at a hearty 8% alcohol by volume, but with the added bonus of cherries, providing some of the sugar. I say bonus, you may see. This is produced seasonally in relatively small numbers around Christmas time.
On allocation even, which is, it's big words, I think, for when you do something on allocation, you're making the claim that people are going to fight and kill for your product. So we will see. Let's just see what's going on here. Da 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 da. Different malts, exceptional smooth, and cherries. I get a just one warning here, and that this does not actually contain any cherries. It contains.
I have spoken with the brewer himself, and he says it's a special cherry syrup.
Cherry syrup from the new country, the United States, where the brewer himself comes from. So maybe that's okay, maybe it's not. We will see.
A concentrate made from cherries originally, which is a plus.
Yeah, that's
Not
right.
any
If
natural
it is made from
cherry
cherries,
flavouring.
But
that's the best way to get them.
the pour, there's nothing wrong with that.
Appearance,
It's
lovely.
it's a porter.
There's just enough head for a porter.
Fine espresso brown. With a
You
fine
can't,
that's
you
what it's a
can't see
creamer.
through it. so it's
espresso
fine.
head, really.
It's a good solid
Very
head.
light, very thin, creamy
It
head.
doesn't necessarily stick around, but it doesn't have to. It's
There's
not
a bit of
supposed to be
oil
a
in there.
massively
It's
gassy
good.
beer.
Yeah. Bit of substance on the nose.
A good
It's,
stouty, portery, fine dark
dark.
beer, bit of flavour. I say flavour.
Not dark in a
Aroma.
Marmite way though.
It's a little. It's quite heavy. It's definitely a strong porter.
It does say on the back it's done in a bit of an imperial stout
Yeah.
style.
Yeah, I'm
It's
not.
the
I'm
formidable
yet to smell the
8%.
cherries. There's no lift on here, but that's all right. Well, are we happy with the nose? It's mostly
Yeah,
porter.
yeah.
Give
With a
a
bit of
take.
end of espresso, yeah.
There
so
is
someone's-
there is a hint of fruit on here. There is a hint of fruit. Anyway, let's see.
That is bitter. That is like a coffee stout.
It's lovely.
Even though we know there's no coffee.
I
in
think it's
this.
heavier than your typical porter. The imperial stout does really come through, but it's got a bit more of a sweetness than your typical stout.
It is, yeah, it is sweet,
got-
but also very bitter. I'm getting lots of dark coffee.
That's the
I've got a cherry problem. I don't know if there are cherries.
Sheer lack of cherry.
I think
There is a
I
sort
can
of
taste many things in here.
No, I think there's definitely a cherry thing.
I'm getting
It's
a-
just enough, right
yes.
at the end.
on the end, but it's to me like a bitter kind of rindy aftertaste.
It
Someone's
is a bit
peeled
of a
some
bitter
cherries,
cherryness. Yeah.
and then a day or so
Well-
later decided I should use these cherry rinds for something. I'll put them in this beer.
Well, I think it's cherries, but it's very concentrated cherries, but also mixed in with a dark
think
roasty
these are-
malts
I think
and
these
that slight
cherries-
coffee flavour.
These cherries are slightly sad.
Well, these cherries have had all the sugar stripped from them by the brewing. Like it's a strong beer, so there's been a lot of every ounce of sugar has been
Well,
drained. from this.
have they added it after the ferment though? That's the
Is-
thing.
So does it say it's brewed with
has it
cherries?
been removed?
What does our text tell us?
It's just cherries in
No,
there somewhere.
so
I think.
you're not going to get any more than that.
Right.
But I think comparing this to a cherry lambic, a cherry Belgian.
I think it's a terrible comparison though. It's not designed to be
No,
anything
it's not.
similar.
It's
though,
not.
is
It's not. But
It's
I
completely
wonder
different
if the acid from the cherries has survived. I don't think it has. I think these cherries are.
it? I think it's very
Slightly-
nice.
very
I think it's
stripped
great.
away.
Just roasty, sweet. It's
My
got a
own-
bit of a sweet sort of a syrupiness to it.
I think I might be a sad face.
I think it's delicious.
No.
No, I'm happy.
My perspective is skewed because, as it's been called Renaissance, my favourite of the New Zealand craft breweries, I have enjoyed every beer they've produced. This is the last one I've tried from their range, and I've not tried previously. The only one I didn't enjoy before was their pumpkin spice ale, the American style seasonal pumpkin ale. of a couple of years ago, and that was complex. It was interesting. It was definitely an experience. I didn't enjoy it for flavour,
I'm sure
but
it
I
was
still
a very
enjoyed
good
the
example
experience.
of what it is.
Yeah.
It's just that in New Zealand we're not really accustomed to the pumpkin beer. So
But in
I
that case,
think
it means so. This is just
Andy Dukas certainly does an excellent beer. He does a fantastic job. Coming from a wine background, he's very technical. He does a fantastic job of getting everything right.
yeah.
So, I really enjoy this. I
What it
think
means in
it's
this
a
case,
very
though,
nice
is
beer.
that it's a very good beer. If someone gave me this and told me it was a coffee oatmeal stout, I would say it was a very fine example of its kind. I would enjoy it greatly.
I would
Knowing it's
expect
a
more coffee
Renaissance
from a
means
coffee beer, though.
it's got that
I think the
bitter,
coffee
bitter
is more on
fruity
the
edge, but it's just
Very
it's just
bitter.
boiling it slightly. I like it bitter, but this is the wrong kind of bitter.
If you want some coffee,
It's
we have
good.
to make that the
It's
sample of another episode. It's the Epicurean coffee and fig. That's
But
a
when I
good
think of
coffee
the
beer.
terms Baltic Cherry Porter, this is not what comes to mind. It's got the strong porter. It's got the
I
hard
still
alcohol level.
seriously wondering where the cherries are. Someone said, if someone gave this to me and said, "Here's a cherry beer,"
Well,
I'd
what are you
say-
expecting? Just cherry juice.
I'd say I've got a couple of cherries for
You just wanted some cherries. You can't just teabag someone.
I feel I'm being teabagged by this beer.
I think it's really nice.
I think Mr.
I'm not
Dukas is
expecting
having a big
cherries.
giggle here.
I'm
I think
not
it's
thinking
nice, but
it's a porter. Cherries are never going to shine through.
The only
It's going to
fruit
be big
I'm
roasty
getting
malts
is in the lingering
anytime.
bitterness after the fact. It's in the aftertaste.
I think the cherries are
finish.
right on the end. They're
Yeah.
in there with the roasty malts, so they're not going to
They're
stand
being
out.
stripped of all the
They're just-
sugars, so it's just the bitter essence of what makes a cherry.
They're just
When you-
adding a bit of a sweetness, a bit of a nice, that dark cherry flavour in with the roastiness,
Well,
and I think
I'm
that's
in.
fantastic.
I'm fighting upriver here, but
I'm getting
Yeah, I
strong
think
espresso,
maybe-
more espresso than cherry, which
maybe
is sad for a beer
the
with
cherries
no
aren't the problem.
espresso.
Maybe it's just they're in maybe slightly the wrong side of beer. Maybe it's a bit too strong. Maybe a bit too malt.
If it's more, just if there's more of a sense of fresh cherry, this would be elevated from a nice bitter porter.
No, I don't think
into-
so. I think fresh cherry is such a delicate flavour. It's just going to be overwhelmed by a porter.
Or
fresh
else
cherry.
eaten up by
I
the
don't even know
yeast.
if a fresh cherry would really go with any beer. It would just be a bit weird in anything else.
You just get a fruity
It's more of that pale kind of
cocktail.
taste, but it's not
Right.
going to go with anything. A dark cherry is a perfect complement to a porter or a stout, and I think it works really well in this.
Right. See, I like it. It's being a Renaissance beer. It's not what I normally expect from a Renaissance, so it's good. But just when there's such a disconnect from the label, Baltic Cherry Porter, versus the beer, which is a hearty and very, very faintly influenced,
Very hearty.
yeah,
Very dark.
say cherry influenced coffee, but overwhelmingly coffee oatmeal tasting stout, which when
Well,
I say
I
midnight,
will-
a lot of coffee oatmeal stouts. as
I
well,
will.
so-
I will agree to disagree on the balance.
I'm going to say, don't even listen to these guys.
terms
It's a
of-
good beer.
In
It's
terms
great.
of a
certainly, but
food
it's-
beer, I think
yeah.
this is a totally applicable food beer. If you had a nice
It's a bit of a confusing dichotomy because it's a Renaissance beer, they're best at what they do. It's just different from what I'd usually expect from them.
any sort of rich dark meats, bit of game, bit of Irish stew even. Dare I say, a pie would be delicious with this beer. But if you did have a pie handy, a bit of venison,
Very good pie. Yeah,
just
some
nice bit
venison
of dark
ribs.
meat, something with a
Really
big
dark
bit of
sauce on
flavour
it.
to come up with this one, and they would cut it beautifully.
Some
Cherries
chips.
or no cherries.
If this beer was a beard, I'm thinking possibly Ron Burgundy's mustache.
No,
It's luxuriant.
Let's not go too
it's
crazy.
luxuriant. It's hearty. It's classic.
not get
but it's
unwholesome.
got. It's a bit.
I think
It's
it
a bit
has
off
a nice
kilter.
sort of a
It's not
strokeable
quite.
beard to it.
This
I think.
one
I think
this
you need a
one
good
this
sort
one
of
is a beard. It's a black beard,
Oh.
and it's a beard with body. I think it's a Robbie Coltrane cracker.
Robbie
I think it's
Coltrane
a
Yeah,
cracker
there's a
beer.
lot of character in there. You don't know. You'd have to delve into
It's
it.
a beard. It's a
To
beard
really
that
get
doesn't
it out of there.
necessarily give.
Yeah.
It's a beard that
Yeah.
takes.
I'm
It's a
pretty
beard-
sure Robbie Coltrane was clean shaven in Cracker.
Was he?
That was his pre-beard
God,
days.
who am I thinking about?
He didn't have a beard till Harry Potter. And it
Oh
was,
no! Don't imply that I've watched Harry
See,
Potter.
I'm
It's
thinking,
not
I'm
true.
thinking of that beard. You know, it's got
Where's he
there's a
playing?
lot going on in there. There's definitely a lot going on in here that you can
This is a
constantly pick things out of
complex
it. There's a lot of
multi-beer.
flavour,
Yeah.
a lot of things to look for. Yeah, I enjoy it. Good beer.
It's
So
a,
what
it
was the beard then?
defies expectations, but it's got
I need a
complex
celebrity
gifts.
beard.
You know what's wrong with the Hagrid? No, you're saying strokeable. Who's got a good stroking beard?
Will Riker has a strokeable beard, but he's a
Oh,
borderline
no, same
rapist,
with
so
Willoughby.
You know, no,
But
that's
yours
more
is
of
just
a
a bit
terrifying
longer.
man as well.
that's
Riker,
more
so-
of a that's more of a Belgian sour ale.
I don't know. What about just the Andy Dukas?
Yeah, he
Nice
has a
little
beard. You know,
goatee.
it's quite a straight beard,
Refined, but
artificially
with
or
some depth to it.
otherwise. Yeah, all right. We'll say this is This is broadly, if not specifically, representative of Andy Ducar's beer, and he can take us up on that if he disagrees.
Yes.
It's his beer, so you know he
Come
should
and see us at March Fest.
And after this episode, I shall find out who Andy Ducas is, or at least
He's
his
a brewer.
beer. He's
no,
a brewer.
he's
That does help.
got he's going on, you know, it's sort of a Jack Sparrow thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Excellent guy.
Mm.
If you see him, talk to him. Yeah, very nice beer. Very good. I like it a lot.
I like it. It has thrown me slightly because it differs so much from the expectations, the mental image I built, that it's just really my fault rather than the beer's. It has elements which I was not expecting, which I would not have expected. From
Well, that's a wonderful thing about beer, though, isn't it? It's very subjective.
Well, I don't like it, but these guys do. So you know, the panel's spoken, so they would poke your tongues out at me. Never mind. What you can look forward to, however, is that we've got some nice new audio gear in the post, and a significantly less wobbly table, which is
Yeah.
actually a shield.
And hopefully the next
Don't
time
ask
Tim will be wearing
questions.
some clothes.
No, maybe not.
No,
Tim
Tim will be wearing
well,
clothes.
all right, we'll see. We'll see. But no, the wobbly table should be gone, and any horrible sound quality should also be gone because we have a proper mixer on the way, and we can start looking like an actual production. And
Wires everywhere.
won't that be grand? Right. I think that's about it. Signing off, this has been The Sesh. We will see you very shortly with another interesting beer.